Now, the war between Israel and Hamas, if you haven't noticed it already, is like a vortex with a potential to drag other Arab states into it. We've already seen Syria, we've seen Lebanon, the Hezbollah attacking Israel, attacks happening in Syria, Israel making different noises, other Arab countries hailing the Hamas as well. So what's going to happen next? How does all of this surround sound around the Gaza Strip in Israel affect what's going on right there on the ground? Lebanon and Syria, I beg your pardon, have already been dragged into it. Most other Arab nations are on the verge of deciding. With each passing day, this war escalates, and there is a risk of a catastrophic expansion beyond what we can see.
There's a war raging in Israel between Hamas and the Israel Defense Forces. And like in all wars, there are others. Some neighbors, some allies who play key roles. And some who try to act as mediators in this war, which has a potential of turning into a much larger conflict that can engulf the entire world. Israel by the Mediterranean Sea is surrounded by Arab League countries. They are at war with Hamas, the militant Palestine Islamist group. Of the 22 Arab League countries, Lebanon's Hezbollah and Syria have already trained their guns at Israel as it started airstrikes on Palestinian ghetto of Gaza. In fact, within hours of Hamas attack on Israel on 7th October, Hezbollah supporters gathered at the Israel border. Another key player in the Arab League, the United Arab Emirates, has warned the Assad regime in Syria not to intervene in the Hamas-Israel war or to allow attacks on Israel from Syrian soil. But Syria has already defied the diktat. Israel's immediate neighbors, Egypt and Jordan, haven't yet joined the war, but have strong words of condemnation for Israel. Jordan suggests a two-nation theory solution as proposed in the 1967 Accord, but doesn't hesitate to threaten to stand by Palestinians against Israel.
وسيظل موقف الأردن ثابتا.
Jordan's stance will remain steadfast, and we will not stray away from our role despite challenges in defending sacred Islamic and Christian venues in Jerusalem and protecting them under Hashemite custodianship.
Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi called the escalation in Gaza highly dangerous, and that Egypt was pushing with regional and international partners for a negotiated solution to the violence. In the last few days, people from Gaza have gathered at Rafah border, which is the only crossing point into Egypt's Sinai. The rest of the Gaza Strip is surrounded by Israel and the sea. A key player in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, has been in talks with Israel about normalizing relations as it also walked a fine line. It called for an immediate end to the violence but did not explicitly denounce Hamas. An agreement with Israel was in the process while Hamas launched its attack. That deal is now in deep freeze.
One of the reasons it carried out its attack now is because of the prospect of normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia. And over the past few weeks, even months, Hamas officials have been quite open about the fact that this would be a huge event.
The other key Arab League member, Qatar, has offered to mediate while playing host to Hamas leaders, including its chairman, Ismail Haniyeh. And then there are the other non-Arab Islamist countries who are playing key roles, like Turkey.
We openly oppose the killing of civilians on Israeli soil. Likewise, we never accept the massacring of innocent people in Gaza through constant indiscriminate bombing. cutting off a city's water, electricity, entry and exits, collapsing its infrastructure, destroying all of its centers of worship from mosques to churches, as well as their schools, preventing people from getting the most fundamental needs, and bombing housing units where civilians reside. In other words, managing a conflict using every sort of embarrassing method is not a war, it's a massacre.
Turkey has backed Palestinians in the past and hosted members of Hamas. It has been working to mend its ties with Israel after years of animosity. Unlike the European Union and United States, Ankara does not consider Hamas a terrorist organization. And then there are the non-Arab states like Iran, who have been speaking up for Hamas from day one, but don't enjoy good relations with Saudi Arabia and some of the other Arab nations. As the war rages on, it surely widens the fissures between the Arab countries and has the possibility of bringing in more Islamist states in its purview, leading to greater destabilization of the region.